The moment we have all been waiting for is finally here. Raising Kanan Season 5 is coming, and nothing, absolutely nothing, is going to be the same again. This is the final season, the last chapter, the end of everything we thought we knew about Kanan Stark before he became the monster we met in Power. And let me tell you right now, this final season is not going to ease you in gently. It is going to grab you by the throat from the very first second and not let go until the very last frame. Because everything that has been building since Season 1, every betrayal, every alliance, every drop of blood spilled on those Queen's streets, it has all been leading to this moment right here. And if you think you know how this ends, I promise you, you do not. So if you are a real Power Universe fan, if you have been riding with Kanan since day one, then you need to stay locked in right now, because what I am about to break down for you is going to blow your mind completely. The end begins now. Let's go all the way back to where Season 4 left us, because that finale did something to people. That finale genuinely broke the internet for a reason. We watched Kanan Stark, a son, walk up to his own mother with a gun in his hand, ready to pull the trigger. Think about that for a second. This is not some random enemy on the street. This is Rock. This is the woman who raised him, who built everything around him, who sacrificed and schemed and bled for the life she created. And Kanan was standing right in front of her, looking her dead in the eyes, with a gun pointed at her. That scene alone told us everything we needed to know about where Kanan's head is right now. He is not a son anymore. He is not thinking about family or loyalty or blood. He is thinking about betrayal. He is thinking about Crystal. He is thinking about fame. Two people he loved are dead, and in his mind, Rock was responsible. And even though Rock stood there completely calm, even though she did not beg, did not panic, did not break, Kanan was still ready to end it all right there. And then we heard it, that gunshot. And the entire Power Universe fandom collectively lost their minds, because nobody knew what that shot meant. Did Kanan really do it? Did he actually pull the trigger on his own mother? Now here is what I genuinely believe happened in that moment. Kanan did not kill Rock. And before you argue with me, think about everything Rock said and did in that confrontation. She was calm. She was cold. She was controlled. And that calmness said everything without saying anything at all. A guilty person panics. A guilty person begs. A guilty person does everything they can to survive that moment. But Rock just stood there and let Kanan see exactly who she was. And somewhere deep inside, even through all that rage and pain, Kanan felt it. He felt that she was telling the truth. He felt that she did not kill Crystal and Fame. And that is the most dangerous thing that could have happened in that scene. Because now Kanan does not just have grief. Now Kanan has guilt. And guilt on top of rage, on top of betrayal, is the most explosive combination a person can carry. So what did that gunshot mean then? I believe it was a warning shot. Kanan fired into the air, or into the wall, or past Rock, close enough to send a message that could never be taken back. And that message was simple and brutal. We are done. You are dead to me. Do not come near me again. Because killing Rock would have been too clean, too fast, too easy. A warning shot is so much worse. A warning shot means Kanan is choosing to let her live with the broken relationship every single day. And for a woman like Rock, who has made every single decision in her life around her son, that is a punishment far worse than death. That is the kind of pain that does not heal. That is the kind of wound that festers and grows and eventually destroys everything around it. And that is exactly the energy that Season 5, Episode 1 is going to open with. Pure, cold, devastating silence between a mother and a son who can no longer look each other in the eye. And this is where the final season sets its tone immediately. Because from the very first episode, we are going to see a Kanan that we have never quite seen before. We have seen him angry. We have seen him hurt. We have seen him confused and lost and searching. But in Season 5, we are going to see him decided. We are going to see a Kanan who has made up his mind about who he is and who he is not. And he has decided that he is not Rock's son anymore. He is not the boy she raised. He is not the kid from South Jamaica, Queens, who just wanted to make his mother proud. That version of Kanan Stark died somewhere between Crystal's body hitting the ground and that gunshot echoing through the night. What is left is something harder, something colder, something that looks a lot more like the Kanan we are going to meet in Power. And Season 5, Episode 1 is the moment that transformation locks in permanently, and there is absolutely no going back from it. The streets of Queens are about to feel the weight of a Kanan who has nothing left to lose and nobody left to protect. And that is the scariest version of any person, but especially the scariest version of Kanan Stark. Because when a man like Kanan has nothing holding him back, when the last emotional anchor has been cut loose, what you get is something the streets have never seen before. And Season 5 is going to show us exactly what that looks like, from the very first episode to the very last scene of the entire series. Buckle up, because this opening episode is going to hit harder than anything this show has ever given us before. Now let's talk about Jukebox, because this storyline is one that has been quietly building for a long time, and Season 5 is where it finally explodes completely. People sometimes forget how central Jukebox is to the emotional core of this entire show. She and Kanan grew up together. They were not just cousins, they were confidants. They understood each other in ways that nobody else in their family really did. And even through all the chaos and the street life and the choices they both made, there was always this unspoken thing between them that said, no matter what, we are family first. But that unspoken thing got completely shattered in the Season 4 finale. And Season 5 is going to deal with the aftermath of that shattering in a way that is going to be genuinely painful to watch. Because here is what Jukebox did. When everything came to a head between Kanan and Rock, when Kanan was ready to confront his mother about Crystal and fame, Jukebox chose a side, and she did not choose Kanan. She chose Rock. Now you might understand why she did that. You might even think it was the right call given what she knew. But understanding something and forgiving it are two very different things, especially when you are Kanan Stark, and you feel like the entire world has turned its back on you in your most painful moment. Kanan told Jukebox exactly where he stood. If you are not with me, you are against me. And Jukebox, by going to Rock, by warning her, by taking her side, showed Kanan exactly where she stood too. And there is no coming back from that in Kanan's world. There is no conversation, no apology, no explanation that fixes what that choice represents to him. And it goes even deeper than just the choice itself. Think about what it means for Kanan to realize that Jukebox told Rock what was coming. That means Jukebox had information she chose to use against Kanan instead of for him. That is not just a betrayal of loyalty. That is an active decision to protect someone else over him. And when you layer that on top of everything Kanan is already carrying, the grief over Crystal, the rage over fame, the confusion and pain of the confrontation with Rock, it becomes too much. It becomes the final thing that confirms what Kanan has been slowly realizing for a long time now. He is alone. Truly alone. And the family he thought he had was never really his to begin with. They were always going to choose each other over him when it mattered most. So how does this play out in Season 5, Episode 1? I think we are going to see an immediate and brutal coldness between Kanan and Jukebox from the very first scene they share. There will be no big confrontation right away. No screaming match, no dramatic showdown. Just ice. Just that particular kind of distance that only exists between people who used to be close and have now decided they are strangers. And that distance is going to grow throughout the season until it becomes something far more dangerous. Because we already know from Power how this ends between Kanan and Jukebox. We already know that their relationship does not survive. And watching the show lay the groundwork for that inevitable ending, watching Jukebox move further and further away from Kanan, while Kanan moves further and further into the darkness, is going to be one of the most emotionally heavy threads in this entire final season. And it is also going to force us to ask a really uncomfortable question. Who was Jukebox really protecting when she warned Rock? Was it Rock? Was it the family? Or was it herself? Because Jukebox has always been someone who plays the long game, someone who sees several moves ahead. And maybe, just maybe, Jukebox already knew that Kanan was heading somewhere she could not follow, somewhere that would eventually get both of them killed if she stayed too close. And maybe her choice in that finale was not just about loyalty to Rock. Maybe it was about survival. Maybe it was Jukebox trying to put distance between herself and the version of Kanan that was coming. The dangerous version, the unstoppable version, the version that Season 5 is going to fully introduce to the world. And if that is the case, then Jukebox is smarter than almost anyone in this story. But being smart does not always mean being safe. And in Queens, in the world that Raising Kanan has built, being smart and being safe are two very different things entirely. Now this is the part that has every single Power Universe fan absolutely buzzing right now, and for very good reason. because Breeze finally made his entrance into Raising Kanan in the Season 4 finale, and it was everything we hoped for and then some. For years, Breeze has been this legendary figure in the Power universe, a name spoken with reverence, a ghost story told on the corners of Queens to explain how the game used to be played before everything changed. And now, we finally get to see him in his prime, in his element, at the exact moment when he is about to become the most important person in Kanan Stark's life. And I cannot overstate how significant that is for this final season. Because think about where Kanan is right now, emotionally and strategically. He has walked away from his mother. He is broken with Jukebox. He is carrying grief and rage and guilt all at the same time. He is a young man with enormous potential and absolutely no direction, no anchor, no one to pour that potential into something real and lasting. And then Breeze walks in. And Breeze is everything that Kanan has been looking for without even knowing it. He is ambitious without being reckless. He is calculated without being cold. He sees the streets not just as a place to survive, but as a place to build an empire. And most importantly, he sees Kanan. He sees what Kanan is capable of in a way that maybe even Rock never fully did. Rock always saw Kanan as her son first and a street player second. Breeze is going to see Kanan as a partner, an equal. And that is going to change everything for Kanan's sense of self in this final season. But here is where it gets really interesting and really strategic. The thing that is going to cement this partnership between Kanan and Breeze is not just mutual ambition, it is information. Specifically, the information about who really killed Crystal. Because we know that the person who killed Crystal is Pop, and Pop is Breeze's aunt. She is connected directly to Breeze's world. And Breeze, being the sharp and calculating person that he is going to find this out. Maybe through snaps, maybe through something he observes or pieces together himself, but he is going to learn the truth. And when he does, he is going to have a choice to make. Does he protect his aunt and his uncle Snaps? Or does he use this information as the ultimate power move to both clear the path ahead of him and lock in his alliance with Kanan permanently? And I think we all know which choice Breeze is going to make. Because Breeze did not survive and thrive in these streets by being sentimental, he survived by being ruthless with his decisions, even when those decisions cost him personally. So he is going to go to Kanan, and he is going to tell him the truth about Crystal. And in doing so, he is going to give Kanan something that nobody else in his life has given him in a very long time. He is going to give Kanan clarity. Real, undeniable, liberating clarity about what happened and who is responsible. And for Kanan, who has been drowning in confusion and misdirected rage, that clarity is going to feel like oxygen. It is going to feel like the ground finally solidifying under his feet after months of sinking. And in that moment, Kanan is going to be indebted to Breeze in a way that goes far beyond the streets. It is going to be personal. It is going to be deep. And it is going to be the foundation of the most powerful partnership that Queens has ever seen. And from that moment forward, the Breeze era truly begins. Not just in terms of territory or money or power, but in terms of the culture and the identity of what the Queen's drug game looks like. Because Breeze is not just a kingpin. He is a visionary in the context of the streets. He sees structure where others see chaos. He sees opportunity where others see danger. And with Kanan by his side, fully committed, fully unleashed, fully transformed into the version of himself that the streets have been waiting for, Breeze is going to reshape everything. And Season 5 is going to show us exactly how that reshaping happens from the ground up, block by block, until Queens belongs to them completely, and nobody can say otherwise. If there is one storyline in Season 5 that is going to hit people right in the chest and leave a mark that does not fade, it is the story of Unique's return and what it means for everyone connected to Rock. Because Unique rising from the ashes in Season 4 was one of those moments that reminded everyone why this show is so special. It was unexpected, it was powerful, and it immediately raised the stakes in a way that changed the entire landscape of what Season 5 could look like. Because Unique is not coming back to negotiate. He is not coming back to find peace or build bridges or let the past be the past. Unique is coming back with one thing on his mind, and that thing is revenge. Pure, patient, burning revenge for everything that was done to him and everything that was taken from him. And here is what makes Unique's return so layered and so dangerous in the context of Season 5. He is not just a wild card. He is not just someone causing random chaos on the streets. Unique is smart enough to see the exact moment when Kanan's hatred for his own family peaks. and he is going to use that hatred as a weapon. Because if Kanan is done with Rock, if Kanan has turned his back on his entire family, then Unique has an opening. He can approach Kanan not as an enemy, but as someone with the same target. And together, even if it is not an official alliance, their shared hatred of Rock creates a situation where Unique can operate with a certain level of freedom that he would not have otherwise. And that freedom is going to be devastating for everyone in Rock's circle. Because here is what I genuinely believe is going to happen. Unique is going to kill Rack. I know that sounds extreme. I know there are people who will immediately say that Rack cannot die because her name comes up in Power. But think about it more carefully. When Kanan gets out of prison in Power, he says he wants to visit his mother. He never says she is alive. A visit can mean standing at a grave. A visit can mean going to a place that used to matter. And the more I look at how Season 5 is being set up, the more I believe that Rack's story ends in this final season at Unique's hands. It makes complete narrative sense. Unique gets his revenge. Kanan loses the last piece of his old life. And the transformation into the Kanan we know from Power is finally and permanently complete. But Rack will not be the only one who falls. Because Unique has a list, and that list has multiple names on it. Lulu and Marvin are both in the crosshairs. And watching Kanan's entire family get taken out one by one is going to be one of the most emotionally brutal arcs this show has ever attempted. Because even though Kanan has turned his back on them, even though he has said he is done, there is still something human in him that will react when people he grew up with start dying. He is not going to grieve them the way he once would have, but he is going to feel it. And feeling it while also knowing that he helped create the conditions that made it possible. That is a weight that is going to shape Kanan for the rest of his life. That is the kind of guilt that turns into coldness. The kind of coldness that eventually becomes the Kanan of Power. Detached, ruthless, capable of anything. And then comes the moment that ties it all together. When Kanan realizes that Unique has wiped out his entire family, something is going to shift in him one final time. Not grief exactly, not rage exactly. Something more precise than both of those things. A decision. And that decision is going to lead Kanan to kill Unique without a single moment of hesitation or doubt. Not because he wants justice for his family, but because Unique has now become a liability, a loose end, someone who knows too much and has too much power in a world that Kanan and Breeze are building from scratch. And with Unique gone, with the last connection to his old life severed completely, Kanan and Breeze will stand alone at the top of Queens, the kings of everything. The beginning of a legend that the entire Power universe has been building toward since the very beginning.